do I think that render during this bull run could hypothetically go to the price of $150? The answer is yes. And even though that's not financial advice nor a guarantee, why do I think so? I think it's going to come down to the amazing and fantastic fundamentals of the render network, because after all, the render network enables individuals to contribute unused GPU power to help projects render motion graphics and visual effects. And this right here is actually a very amazing process because quite essentially, it is incentivized through the render token because, these individuals who do provide their unused GPU power, they are rewarded in render tokens. So yeah, that's very fantastic in my opinion. Pretty much one of the best concepts out there. I mean, not many people really thought about this to begin with, but hey, render, that's how amazing they are. Now, let's take this into consideration as well. It's even been noted that render quite essentially simplifies the process of rendering and streaming 3D environments and other visual effects. So yeah, that's very cool. But let's not forget, because when it comes to render, what are they focused on? AI. Now, AI, of course, stands for artificial intelligence. We all know that. But here's the thing. I think sometimes people don't understand the potential of AI because, a lot of people, they like to say, oh, wow, AI, it's kind of caca, it's not doing the best. But I think better days are ahead because if you think about it, according to Grandview Research, the AI market is predicted to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030. I mean, that's insane, man. You got to think about how, first of all, it's not even that far away. We're nearing 2025, which is kind of crazy to really think about. I mean, it just felt like I was celebrating New Year's. Just last week, it felt like that. Of course not, but you get my point. So actually, 2030 is pretty much just 5 years away. Keep in mind, the GDP of Canada back in 2022 was around $2 trillion. So this is kind of crazy. Having a figure of, nearly $2 trillion, at least the market value predicted to be worth. That's amazing. I think when it comes to AI, man, its potential could be so great, hypothetically speaking. But also, let's take this into consideration. When it comes to the render network, it's also been noted that use cases include, for instance, focusing on markets such as augmented reality, mixed reality, gaming, medical, and virtual reality as well. Now, I think this right here is actually very amazing. It shows that render isn't some sort of, one-trick pony. That's not the case. It's very diverse. And more specifically, though, I do want to focus on the markets of gaming and as well as virtual reality because there's some data that could very well showcase how these markets have, tremendous potential, at least predicted to. For instance, the blockchain gaming market, yet again, according to Grandview Research, because, they like to predict things, by 2030, the blockchain gaming market, is expected to be worth over $300 billion. I mean, that's insane, man. I'm going to have to start speaking some Portuguese. Caralho. Porra. I mean, man, that's very amazing. That's not caca at all, in my opinion. That's very fantastic. Now, also, let's take this into consideration. We take a look at the virtual reality market, according to the Insight Partners, is expected to be worth over $440 billion by 2030. That's insane, man. I mean, when you really think about it, all the markets that render is pretty much focused on, they have, hypothetically, such amazing potential. And that's just the cherry on top when it comes to render. I mean, man, it's a serious project. They're not focused on some random caca nonsense. That's not their jam, that's not their vibe, and that's not their style. And I really love that. I like serious projects, much like render. But yeah, besides that point, we also take a look at how not too long ago the community voted to build on a new Layer 1 blockchain. Now, what is this new Layer 1 blockchain? It's Solana. Now, previously it was Ethereum, but I think this is a genius move when it comes to render, because if you think about Solana, what are the benefits? Very low gas fees. It's very scalable. It's lightning fast. You take a look at Ethereum, sky-high gas fees, arguably not even scalable. I mean, what is that complete caca nonsense? Now, I understand this. When it comes to Ethereum, there are many, layer 2s out there that do allow for Ethereum to be enjoyed, while at the same time not dealing with the nonsense that I mentioned before. Even despite that, Ethereum at its core, is it really ideal for a project that wants to thrive? Hypothetically, I don't really know about that because if you think about it, why would a project want to deal with like sky-high gas fees and scalability issues? I don't want to deal with that. So when it comes to render, this is the genius mindset that they have. They keep improving, they keep thriving, and they really do understand that, hey, Solana, for the long term, it's going to be a much better place. And I think, this right here is, of course, going to benefit people who are fans of render because, again, previously they had to deal with the Ethereum caca-ness, that's what I like to call it, caca-ness. That makes sense. But yeah, besides that point, I think Render is just A+ all across the board. Focus on the right markets. It moved to the right place. I think Solana is fantastic. And also on top of that, exposure is amazing. It's listed in so many major exchanges. And last but not least, it has an amazing core focus. So again, Render at the price of $150 during this bull run, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I mean, again, with all that being said, is it really crazy? No, I don't think so. And here's the thing. If Render were to go to the price of $150, considering current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $78 billion. Now, at first glance, people may think, okay, man, that's kind of a lot if you really think about it. But to me, it's actually not that much because, first of all, we've seen Dogecoin reach over $80 billion in market cap. And come on, man, Dogecoin. But even besides that, let's say we don't use this meme coin example. Let's say we use like an actual quote-unquote real, apples to apples comparison. Let's take a look at BNB. BNB at one point reached over $100 billion in market cap. Now, what is this about, man? And keep in mind, this was back in 2021. But very alarmingly, according to Crypto.com research, just last year, back in 2023, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened actually occurred on the BNB Smart Chain ecosystem. Yeah, that's not great. The crypto space overall is massive. I don't know why people like to write in the comments, oh, wow, that's actually not that much. Well, it's actually a lot. Again, slightly over 2%. You got to consider, again, the crypto space overall is insanely massive. That's actually not a very acceptable figure. At least that's the way I take a look at it. So if BNB can reach over $100 billion in market cap, why can't something like, Render at least go to around $78 billion? It's not too much to ask for. Again, is the BNB Smart Chain ecosystem really the best? You got to think about that. Now, let's also take this into consideration. This bull run could be so impressive. You take a look at the sheer amount of crypto owners is just unbelievable. And this is not a joke, by the way. It's actually a verifiable fact because according to Crypto.com research, there is over 600 million crypto owners, which is kind of insane. Now, at first glance, people may think, okay, you just said it's impressive, all this, you hyped it up, you're glazing this. Now, guess what? There's billions of people in this world. What do you mean? Well, if you actually give it some perspective, this number is actually insane, like I mentioned before, because I think we can all agree that 2021 was a very special year when it comes to cryptocurrencies just in general. But you also have to take this into consideration. During the peak of that bull run, again, in 2021, there was roughly only around 300 million crypto owners. So now we basically have, double that amount. Could you imagine all the FOMO we saw back then, all the buying pressure, the buying volume? It's going to be insane, at least this time around, hypothetically, of course. Also, you take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the number of institutional investors it has. Enterprise adoption is fantastic when it comes to Bitcoin. So you could only imagine Bitcoin, those bullish factors combined with that many crypto owners. At that point, Bitcoin can't go to the price of at least $150,000 during this bull run. I think hypothetically, easy peasy. Now, not financial advice, but it would only make sense. If Bitcoin were to reach those great heights, altcoins, much like Render, they're going to go along with the ride too. Now, again, at that point, $150, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Also, on top of that, you take a look at how this type of stuff usually doesn't happen like overnight though, because typically it takes some time. As a worst case scenario, altcoins, they've been known to peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event based off of history. Now, as a best case, it's typically been around 6 months. Now, if we take a look at this range, this is anywhere between October this year to October of next year. Now, why do I say that? Because you take a look at the Bitcoin halving event, it happened back in April. So, of course, 6 months, October this year, 18 months, October next year. Now, I'm more so taking a look at 2025. But let's say it happens earlier, fine by me. But hey, you take a look at, if it happens a little bit later, again, that's fine because more time for me to accumulate. So it's not really bad at the end of the day, because after all, my strategy is dollar cost averaging. Anytime I earn income, I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. That's it. I'm not a day trader. I don't use leverage. I don't swing trade. I don't do any of that type of stuff. I just like to keep things simple because, again, Render at the price of $150 during this bull run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And I'm doing things that are within my control, like my dedication, not giving up, my belief, again, just acquiring anytime I earn income, holding, and just waiting. Because if I start focusing on things that are beyond my control, I'm going to drive myself crazy. I don't want to do that. And again, with a bull run hypothetically being this amazing, with the amazing markets that Render is focused on, again, $150 wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I'm just going to stay patient because I'm extremely bullish on Render. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's Manly the Captain. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.